It's time for Hats Hits, our 5 takeaways from another edition of high school football on this particular Friday night in the month of September. And we're glad you're all tuned with us here on the program. We're on IG, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify. We're all over the place. And it's been a roller coaster of a night. And let's go through the takeaways and what grabbed me on this particular Friday. And you can interact with us through all the channels. If you're watching through the Facebook or the Twitter or the IG, wherever you're tuning in, we want to hear from all of you out there. Oh, it hasn't gone up yet on the Twitter. No wonder it hasn't. There we go. Let's put it up there. We'll get started here. So there you have it. We are up and rolling now. So here we go. My takeaways from another Friday night of high school football. We'll take them in chronological order. We put them from 1 to 5 and get your thoughts as well to interact with us here on the channel. So number one, numero uno, the score that really opened my eyes a bit. Now, we had them number 1 in the state, and that was Heritage of Lynchburg beating EC Glass in the Jug Bowl. And if you're not one that lives in Lynchburg, you don't know how big a deal it is. That's rivalry, and it matters to carry that big jug around and say, aha. It's like the Paul Bunyan acts in college football. It's like all these different little rivalry things. And I think Brad Bradley made the comment to our buddy Bob Alvis out there. They've had that jug for 720-something days, and they've been running around a gym with it, and they've been going everywhere with that jug, and it's not their jug anymore. It's our jug. Heritage Lynchburg said that 49-6, a spanking of Glass, who took to the wire GW Danville last week. They beat Salem to start the year. EC Glass is no pushover, folks, and Heritage made them look like a pushover. And it validated our rankings, number 1 in the state, because I'm going to get to that in a minute. I hear all the time about what we get wrong with the rankings, and people get upset saying, ha, 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 you need to change that. You're wrong. Yeah, number 6 beat number 2. They shouldn't be number 1. They should be number 4 all the time. And I'm going to get to you, Walcott, out there just asking about Warwick and Phoebus next Saturday. We'll get to that. Calm down. There's some more people upset with the rankings too, by the way. Not in the top 10 at the moment. Class 5. Have a chance to make me wrong, prove me wrong. But well-rounded offense, defense, special teams, all 3 phases clicking, and Heritage of Lynchburg legit as our number 1 team in the state in Class 3. I told you so much about those Region D teams last week that I was loving up. The Lord Botetots, the William Byrd. Have you heard? Bird's the War with the Terriers. And also told you about not just those 2, Magna Vista in that region, but Region 3C, which is where Liberty Christian resides, 2-time defending state champs, got back in the victory column. Heritage Lynchburg, they're looking like number 1 for a reason. They took that out-of-state loss, halftime in a game with the weather messing them up against Bridgeport, an 11-time state champ of West Virginia. And sometimes you got to go play out-of-state to get you ready for what's ahead in your state. Let's go to number 2. We'll go to Nova, from Lynchburg to Nova. We're going to go back to Tidewater in a minute, so stay tuned, folks. But number 2, Washington Liberty. Used to be Washington Lee. Got to see my man Bobby Dobson, the hoops coach, last weekend at Virginia Wesleyan team camp. Our man Macedo was over there with the Marlins. It's going to be Baton University soon, by the way. But Washington Liberty's football team, they've had some good guys in the trenches lately. Mr. Hughes up front, guy that went to Stanford, and they graduated a bunch of guys. And I wrote them off. I bragged about myself. There you go, Coach Barrett, along with Legend. You know what I'm talking about. We're talking about his football program there now at WL. I kind of wrote Washington Liberty off. I did not see them as a real legitimate threat to win Region 6D, where last year they lost in a championship game to Madison. Now, Madison has been in the state championship game a few times in the last 5-6 years. Justin Council does a great job. Took a couple early blemishes against Stonebridge and against Lake Braddock. They'll get back, and they'll be back in our conversation in the weeks and months to come. But kind of thought it was going to be a Madison-Westfield. As I clear my throat here, I'm going to have to get me some water in a second. Thought it'd be a showdown between them. Oh, by the way, we got a sponsor for this, so stay tuned. Don't leave just yet if you're watching. You want to see who our sponsor is before number 3 in a second. But I thought it'd be a Madison-Westfield showdown, the 2 Concord heavyweights. Washington Liberty beats Westfield tonight 14-13. You say, big deal, big whoop. What's the big deal? Prior to tonight, they were 0-8, 0 wins, donut, no victories, 8 losses. All time, all by at least 18 points. And they won the game because you win football games up front on the line of scrimmage. Tush push or no tush push. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And Washington Liberty did it up front with the linemen, the big uglies. They made it look pretty, even if 14-13 didn't sound picturesque or all that enjoyable, all that fun. So that covers 2. Shout out to Heritage of Lynchburg. Shout out to Washington Liberty, the hyphenated names. And before we get to number 3, this edition of Hats Hits, the IG Live and video takeaway show, is brought to you by Chicho's Pizza. There it is. I got the box right here. Pizza's all gone. Can you see it on the camera? Pizza? All right, yeah. Chicho's. As long as they want to supply me with a free pizza, they can sponsor this show. There you have it. All right, that's number 2. Let's get to number 3, since Chicho's is sponsoring this show. Brought to you by Chicho's Pizza. Number 3. I got asked all summer long, who's the best quarterback? Who's the best quarterback? Not just who's the best quarterback in the NFL. You like Mahomes, you like Allen, you like Burrow. Who's the best quarterback in college football? Oh, it's going to go to that Arch Manning guy in Texas. No, it's going to go to Cade Klubnik at Clemson. No, it's not. Dabo, he's getting upset at people, and Clemson's probably not going to go to the playoff unless they win the ACC and rally the troops after those 2 blemishes early on to LSU and Georgia Tech. What about high school in 757, which has been the paving ground for quarterbacks? Names like Ronald Curry and Michael Vick, the current coach of Norfolk State. Behold the green and gold. And Tyrod Taylor and Aaron Brooks and E.J. Manuel and Taj Boyd and all these quarterbacks. All these quarterbacks. You said Parker, Coach Barrett. Yeah, Kevin Parker at Denby. And Maricus Banks at Phoebus. Guy's got 2 state championship rings and no losses, and he's a junior. Marcus Chapman, who I watched for the Hampton Crabbers on Thursday night. And Lonnie Andrews III, who I'll see for Oscar Smith coming up on Saturday against Indian River, with a ballyhooed freshman and Lord Malik Haru. But then there's another quarterback that people forgot about. They forgot about that guy in the Peanut City for the Warriors of Nansemond River. And I blame Ed Young for this, even though he doesn't coach there anymore. He now coaches at Smith. It's always his fault. Anything that happens wrong is his fault. And we'll tell you what else is his fault in a second. Syracuse commit Tyrell Grant Jr. He's going to give credit, as he already did on social media when we tagged him in this, to his offensive linemen and to his really talented receivers like Keontae Bumpers and Calvin Holloway and Quincy Gilmer, a sophomore to know. And I'm leaving somebody out in that receiving corps, and I apologize. They have 4 or 5 really good receivers, and I'm missing somebody. And it's by no means, no intent. But Grant does it with his arm and his legs. And 259 yards, 4 TDs, 2 by air, 2 by ground. Big-time blowout, as Coach Barrett says. Super E was in the building. Super E should have gone to my game. If you listen to me, Super E, if you're watching, you should have taken my advice. You would have not had a running clock blowout. You should be going where I'm going, where you can. Hey, it's right, Heath Barr. Death, taxes, blame Ed Young. No doubt about it. You got it right, Jim. But this was the game to not see. Wait to see Nansemond River when they're 6-0. They're going to be 5-0 or 6-0 when they see Super E's alma mater, Indian River, coming up. And they got Oscar Smith and Kings Fork still on the docket. So a lot of work to go. And Western Branch was a nice story at 3-0, but they really hadn't beaten anybody of high caliber. They beat Menchville, Hickory, and Catholic. I'm not trying to disparage those schools, but come on now. 40-6, Nansemond wins. And Tyrell Grant Jr., I wondered last year just how good he truly was. He is really stepping it up. I watched it in a scrimmage, and he's looking very, very good and looking like he belongs in that conversation, in the argument for best QB in the 757. And if you're the best QB in the 757 or in that conversation, you belong in the best QB conversation perhaps in the whole state of Virginia. I'm sure there are people in Richmond and Nova and everywhere else that will be squawking and screaming at me, telling me, hey, my guy's as good as him, if not better. Well, tell me who it is, and we'll shout him out, and we'll assess and analyze the data and see if your guy stacks up. So Nansemond River looking good, and Tyrell Grant Jr. is a big reason why. Number 4, this is the game you should have gone to, Super E. 42 Pac-Man. You're right. Thank you, 42 Pac-Man. Number 4 on the Hats Hits. There was not an awesome game in the state tonight. I'm going to tell like it is, folks. There are better weeks ahead on Fridays and Saturdays, some games that are going to be, Maron, terrific. And there was the past few weeks. I saw a triple overtime classic last week. So I said, I'll stay close to home base. I'll watch a good game that's not a great game. And this turned out to be a better than good, entertaining game that was like a roller coaster. And I won't say what place it's a roller coaster because they don't sponsor the show like our good buddies at Chicho's Pizza. But that place that you go to in Williamsburg, they want to sponsor the show, I'll give them a shout out. But this game had 9 turnovers that I went to. You said, oh, it's sloppy, it's terrible. No, these were plays made by defensive players all over the place, including a McCoy by the name of Marcus McCoy for Salem getting the pick that could have given Salem the lead. But I want to shout out 2 youngsters for Bayside in my game. Junior running back Kyron Brown and freshman by the name of Jair Collins. If you haven't heard of him, really good. 2 picks on the night, over-the-shoulder pick. Had another one he telegraphed on 4th down as Salem was trying to come back. And Salem's got some key guys out, quarterbacks out, key receivers out, linebackers out. But they didn't quit. They kept coming back, ran the ball well, and Bayside made plays behind a couple of these youngsters that are stepping up. And Flash, they call Kyron Brown. He ran for over 150 tonight. He had 2 picks, a pick 6, 7 tackles, a pass breakup, a forced fumble. I think he saw popcorn at halftime. He was all over the place, and Collins made a key play. And Bayside, they had a bad loss last week to Kempsville. And if you lose this game when you have control of it and you drop to 2-2 before you play Lansdale and still have Green Run, your season can spiral out of control. It's the type of game that's kind of plagued Bayside in years past as they've finished 6-4 a lot. It's a good win for them, and it gives them a chance now, to think about not just being a playoff team, but possibly hosting in the first round in Region 5A, where Green Run is still the team to beat. Despite the 20-7 score that people say, what's wrong with them? They beat Cox by only 20-7. Well, their defense, they give up a score. The score for Cox was a pick 6. Cam Johnson balled out with the 3 sacks. But 5A is interesting because I think Salem will bounce back. I think we'll hear from them again. Oh, by the way, Kempsville, who beat Bayside last week with the area's leading rusher in one, Robert Hughes Jr., they're good. And I tell you what, there are some entertaining games awaiting in the Beach District. We'll see how this all sorts out in the weeks to come when you get Salem and Green Run and you get Bayside and Green Run and then you get Kempsville and Green Run next week. There are some games that are going to tell us a little more about where things stand in that district. So the tandem of Flash and Boogie. I love those nicknames. Love the nicknames. Flash and Boogie. You got Flash, you got Boogie, boom. Made me want to put on Flash Beagle from Peanuts and Snoopy. I'm going to do that before I go to sleep tonight. That's a great song, by the way. People don't, the kids out there are watching this and they have no idea what Peanuts and Snoopy are. Educate yourself and go put on Charlie Brown. Number 5, before I give you some quick hitters and say good night and bid adieu on this early Saturday morning as we finish from Friday into Saturday. Number 5, I get asked, just like the quarterback question, what's the best district in the state? Oh, it's the Peninsula District. No, it's the Central District. No, it's the Seminole District. No, it's the Concord District. I don't know what the best district is in the state. And it's a meaningless, pointless, silly argument. But I'm going to tell you this, and I said this last year, and I caught on to this, and I've caught on to it even more so far. The most entertaining games right now are being played and going to be played in the next month or two by teams in the Commonwealth District, the schools in the Fredericksburg area, Riverbend specifically, Colonial Forge, and North Stafford. And there are some other teams in that district, Brook Point, Stafford, among others, that will make it interesting too. But these games have a chance to be 56-49, 48-40. In fact, tonight, I think it was 42-35 in overtime. North Stafford wins it. Remember, they blew a 13-point lead to Battlefield, coached by my cousin, not really, Greg Hatfield. Bobcats came back to win that game and extend their regular season winning streak to almost 50 games now. So North Stafford lost that one. They've regrouped and won 3 in a row. They're averaging 36 points a game. Colonial Forge is in a 14-all tie with Oakton, who's much improved. From there, 28-0, Colonial Forge, validating their number 2 ranking in the state in Class 6, only behind Oscar Smith. And then Riverbend at 4-0. They put up a school record last week with 70, and they put up a new school record of 81 tonight on Albemarle. And you say, well, Albemarle must not have athletes. Hey, Albemarle was in a state basketball championship. They're not that lacking of athletes. 62 points per game for Riverbend. The Bears, who might be climbing the rankings chart pretty soon. So circle those games when Riverbend plays Colonial Forge, when Colonial Forge plays North Stafford, when North Stafford plays Riverbend. Those games are worth checking out. And I'm going to have to clone myself or teleport myself to those games and see them. 81-8 is right. Yeah, that's the score. So sign me up. 1st to 50 wins those ball games. All right, some quick hitters and a couple of thoughts on college and the pro football side of things, and then we'll bid adieu here and tell you that you can also tune into 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV from about 9:30 a.m. Eastern to about 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And the coach, Ed Young, will maybe join us if we can find him wherever he is. You never know where he is. And by the way, Jim said it earlier. Blame Ed. Yeah, Ed missed that pick, by the way, of Bayside Salem. Go check it out on VirginiaPreps.com. He took Salem. And I'm not going to brag who had the Marlins, but somebody got that one right. Some other quick hitters. I mentioned about Riverbend and what they're doing. I want to shout out a few other schools that are doing some great things. Loudoun Valley is going to be on an upcoming episode of Hat Sits. I foresee this. They're 4-0 for the first time since 1988, when somebody on this thing was born. We won't say who. And they beat Dominion by 50. I'm curious to see how Loudoun Valley does when they play Loudoun County and some of the other schools up that way. Looking good. Churchland, 4-0 for the first time since eons. Well, not quite 1988, since 2013, when none of their current players were in high school, middle school, and were some probably not even elementary school, maybe one or two. Chance to get to 4-0. They do it. Can they get to 5-0? Well, they got Maury next week. It's going to be tough. But Logan Wynn's leading the area in passing. Got a nice core of receivers, including Stash, another good nickname. Darion Ripley, who just made his college commitment to Shawan, I think it was. Dontrell Leonard and the Truckers have the passing game clicking. We'll see if they have what it takes to battle with Maury next week. A couple other quick shout-outs too. Colgan, the Sharks. Oh, we got to start queuing up Baby Shark, do-do-do-do-do, Baby Shark, do-do-do-do-do, Mommy Shark, do-do-do-do-do, Daddy Shark. They beat Broad Run 41-23. So they can't blame me for shutting them out last week and saying I'm a jinx, because they keep the winning going for a relatively new school. It's not even 5-6 years old. That's why they're the Baby Sharks. Rural Retreat, who lost a heartbreaker last week to Eastside at the very end. Eastside, who I had number 2 in the state in Class 1 and still do. They respond against Lebanon, who beat them last year pretty handily by blasting Lebanon 64-26. And Lebanon, a Class 2 school with a quarterback going to UVA Wise, couldn't keep up with Rural Retreat. Rural Retreat is for real. And they want to crack at Eastside in the playoffs. And they could be dangerous. So there you go for them. And then a couple more quick hitters. Just going back to the 804 and the 757 now for a second. I haven't really talked about the 804 all tonight. Thomas Dale gets a win over Glen Allen, who they had lost to last year. So the Knights at 3-0 got a chance to stay in good standing for the playoff seedings in that region. Back to Tidewater for a second. Very impressive showing for Warwick. They put up 61 points, and almost all of them in the first quarter against Heritage. Big game, as Bill Walcott mentioned earlier. They got Phoebus next Saturday. I'm unfortunately going to miss that live because I have to do some ODU broadcasting responsibilities, so I'll have to follow that one from afar, not in person. But Warwick's defense is good. We'll see if their offense can continue to make strides and give themselves a chance against the Phoebus Phantoms, who keep on cooking, keep on rolling. They win that game, they can match their win streak of 52 in a row that they share from years ago, and Riverheads matched a couple years back before finally succumbing. And oh, by the way, if they beat Warwick to match that, they go for the record against Highland Springs on October 3rd, a game that people will be clamoring to see at Darling Stadium, even if the Springers have 2 losses and Phoebus has 1 or no losses. So there you have it. A couple of quick college football NFL thoughts as we say goodnight here on this latest edition. My colleague that I bash, Coach Young, he has been hitting the upset specials lately, folks. People like to throw some coins down, and be careful if you do it. I mean, I'm a Monopoly money guy. But he did call a couple weeks ago Baylor beating SMU. And he did call last week, and I didn't agree with him, that Vanderbilt will beat South Carolina. He's already telling me there will be a Big Ten surprise. Tune in to 757 Sports Talk. Got to tease it. And it's not the one I'm calling for with Nebraska over Michigan. I'm already calling for that one. He's calling for another one where he has a dog, woof, barking and beating somebody on the road. And I think his last 2 upsets were road upsets. So he's calling them. I don't know where he's getting his info or his intel, because he's not doing it on his own. He definitely is not doing it on his own. But he's got some secret source that is giving him the answers to the tests before he takes it. And it makes me very jealous and envious because I don't like that. I think he's cheating. He's not playing fair. He's not playing fair. And speaking of not playing fair, the NFL picks, he was not playing fair in that. And he has a surprise or two. My upset special, and we'll see if this happens or not, in the pros, the Rams get revenge for the loss last year in the snow in Philadelphia as Matthew Stafford, with his outstanding first name, will go to Philly and put a hush to the tush push just for a week. Rams win it on a walk-off field goal over the Eagles, 27-24. So there you have it. I still think the Bills are the best team in pro football despite their uneven showing against the Dolphins on Thursday night. And I still think the Packers by a sliver are better than the Eagles. I know the Eagles are saying, well, hold on, you can't rank them ahead of us. We've beaten them the last 2 times, and you're right. I think the Rams are taking you down. I really do. So we shall see. Call me a Philly hater, I guess, right? I'm not trying to hate on them. I'm just telling you what I think. That's going to do it for this edition. We thank you all for tuning in and interacting and commenting. And make sure you watch again 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. And it's also available for you on the television side of things. It's showing on our ticker if you're watching on the YouTube or on Twitter or X or IG. Channel 60 in Hampton Roads, 74 in Nova, 77 in Fredericksburg, and Channel 9 in Roanoke. We're on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesdays at 12 noon Eastern, and Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. So have a great rest of your, I guess you can say now, Saturday morning, since Friday evening is basically done. And we'll talk to you next time for our final Hats Hits IG Live installment for the month of September 2025, right here on Cova Sports TV, Twitter, X, Facebook, YouTube, and all the different platforms. We'll see you later, everyone. Take care.